Now, there is a world you are not seeing. It is our world. The best of it, in fact.
It is the hope, compassion, achievement and love that we as a humanity hold and reflect each and every day.
Now, the role of the media was first defined as reflecting society onto itself, to inform people about what's happening in their day in a balanced way. So if this is true, and a recent study has shown that 85% of the media is negative and only 15% positive, then we must ask ourselves, is 85% of this world around us negative? Think about your own lives. Is 85% of your own life negative? So why is it reflected this way in the media? Now, we're not saying that society is perfect. Far from it. But what we're trying to create through this movement is media that has a sense of social responsibility, that truly reflects society onto itself. Now, take the African drought, for example, a very negative situation, arguably the most at the moment in the world. Yes, there are millions dying and babies being left on the street. But there are also thousands of volunteers over there helping. And everyone in this world can help in this sort of situation. And it is when we cover things in this full way that we can actually see a world that is empowered and inspired to make a difference. Western culture is suffering from record levels of depression, anxiety, and suicide, while happiness levels are at an all-time low. But is it any wonder when we look at the world that surrounds us at every turn? 19th century essayist, lecturer, and poet Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "A man is what he thinks about all day long." A man is what he thinks about all day long. Now, in this technology-driven world, where we can access and disseminate information at the click of a button, the media is increasingly in our face and dictates more so than ever what a man or woman thinks about all day long. You going to do your bit?
Oh, sorry, mate. What are we up to? I was just looking at the headlines.
Well, what's going on?
Sailor found dead in Cambodia. Tragic death. Mum in car crash. Teen faces Christmas behind bars.
So what sort of effect do you reckon that's having on you?
It's funny you should ask that because it's actually not a very good one. It certainly doesn't make me feel inspired or empowered about our world. Until recently, there hasn't been a whole lot of research to show how our external environments really affect how we think and feel. So there's a few bits of information we'd like to share with you. Firstly, an Italian professor, Marco Laccaboni, discovered these neurons in our brain. They're called mirror neurons, and they allow us to experience how another person's feeling. So we're just going to test now and get your mirror neurons working and see how you guys go. So I'm sure through some of these photos, you guys had some sort of emotional response, some sort of emotional engagement with these, whether it was happy or sad or anxiety. But that's your mirror neurons working. When you're seeing someone in that state of mind, your mind does the same as well. And this then takes us to the emotional scale of human beings, which is used by psychologists all around the world. So if you open a newspaper, if you watch the TV, and you see this headline, hits you straight in the face, and it's one of fear or depression or anger, you can quite easily jump. If you're having a really happy day, you can fall from that high place of happiness or joy right down to the bottom of fear, of grief, even to depression. And that happens quite easily. To get back up the scale, it's much more difficult. You have to work through each and every emotion through that range to get back up to the top. So it's really important to surround yourself in a positive environment. Another bit of research says to have an overall positive and happy feel of a day, the ratio is 3-to-1. So you have to have 3 positive things that happen to you in your day, so the 1 negative, to have an overall feeling of having a really positive and happy day. And again, it shows how important our environments really are to how we think. Another bit of research shows But happiness is actually more than just a state of mind. It's really important for our health as well. Research shows that happy people actually live a lot longer, they're much more productive at work, and they have much better immune systems. So finally, it is our environments, what we surround ourselves with, that affect our thoughts and how we view the world. It is these thoughts that affect our actions and create our actions in our life. And it is our actions as 7 billion people on this planet that create the world that we live in today.
Now, with all of this in mind, we ask you, imagine the world that might be created if society was truly reflected onto itself in the media, where 85% of the coverage was dedicated to our triumphs as a species rather than our failures. We, like so many of you, have seen the good in the world. We have lived, breathed, and read about people that have dedicated their whole lives to the benefit of others. Communities that have done everything to help those in need. And governments that, instead of taking conflicting actions, take the moral high ground. I'm 25 years old.
And I'm 26. And we see hope in this world. And we refuse to accept that no news is good news, because we know that that's not true. And we know as a humanity how important it is to share the good in this world. And there's so much of it. So we ask you guys now, do you choose to view the world with the lights on, the lights off, or maybe somewhere in between? The choice is yours, and only you decide how you view the world. And remember, it is your view and your thoughts that create the world that we live in right now. Thank you.